For the past 15 years, Flogging Molly has been crisscrossing the United States and the world, playing their brand of Irish punk rock. And today they're playing, actually tonight, they're playing here at House of Blues in Orlando at Downtown Disney. And I'm joined with Matt Hensley, the accordion player with Flogging Molly. I'm John Busdecker, live on OrlandoSentinel.com. And we're coming to you, and we're going to talk with Matt for a while and kind of get a sense of what it's like to be in Flogging Molly for... You've been in the band 15 years or so?
I've been in the band from the beginning, from '96.
So
a while.
Touring 15 years. Tell me what it's like. I mean, I know your live shows are kind of what makes you guys such a great band. I mean, it's something that you guys shine at.
We've just from the very beginning. Like all bands, we started playing live, but live is where we shine. I mean, we record and we do our best to obviously bring the best music we possibly can to be recorded, but there's a certain energy that you can't, it's hard to replicate in the studio, or when you're playing live, you can just see the effort and the energy in the air and the energy of our fans too. It just brings special magic to our shows, I think.
So you play the accordion, not exactly the most instrument that everybody picks up when they're young.
You can't get one of those at Guitar Center. You can't.
So how did you get into playing the accordion?
Well, honestly, I was playing the banjo also, and then the accordion, just the idea of the accordion, I liked more than I could actually know how to play it at first. Mm-hmm. So just an instrument that kind of like a passport can kind of take you all around the world. It is like kind of like the quintessential like kind of working man's instrument from around the world. If you think about it, like American music, depending where you are in America, it could be Cajun music, or it could be American in the South, like you're going to hear a lot of Tex-Mex music, and when you go to Paris, you hear an accordion player in the subway. If you go to Poland, you're going to hear polkas. If you hear Germany, you're going to hear waltzes. Irish music, there's accordion music in it, and almost anywhere in the world, all South America. It travels to my ear. It travels, just all around the world. It really has like it brings some cultural authenticity to some of the music. And the reason I play this kind of music is when I was a kid, my grandfather on my mother's side was born in Scotland, but so all my relatives were from Maine and from Scotland, and when I was a kid, they'd always play Celtic music, and I loved it when I was like a young kid, and then I got 13 and was just too into punk and stuff, and like couldn't be bothered with that music, and then later in my life, I kind of fell in love with it, and found bands like the Pogues and great bands like that, and just, wow, this music's so good. Started trying to play it.
So when you first picked up an accordion, you were older. You were 24, I thought I read, or in
your
20s, right?
I was in my early 20s.
And did you just pick it up and you instantly kind of knew how it all worked and played, or did it take some time?
I did not instantly know how it worked. No, not at all. Actually, because I actually messed around with it on tour for skateboarding. Like, I'd be around the country and we'd go to like pawn shops and I'd pick up an accordion like in Texas, and just loved that sound. More because it sounded like Tex-Mex music to me, to be honest with you, than Irish music, but I loved it, and but never bought it, just played it for half an hour, irritated the guy at the pawn shop, and bailed and went to the demo. But later, however many years later, I actually finally pulled the trigger. I traded in my banjo for an accordion, and my roommate at the time was just like, "Oh my God, what have you done?" And
you just gotta get the bagpipes, and now you got all three sort of.
It's not what you do normally. At least. My friends were like, "Wow, you just couldn't get the drums, play the bass, anything? What are you gonna do, bro?" Because I played the guitar in a couple of ska bands around San Diego and stuff, and so I've had some picture in my mind of the kind of music that I wanted to learn how to play and be part of, and I started doing it, and I found that old Italian accordion teacher to teach me how to play, and he kind of gave me the fundamentals, and I was his oldest student by maybe 10 years, and I went to my recital where I was 21 or 2 or 3 or whatever, and the next oldest person was like 12 or 13, but my mom was still in the front row like, "That's my son." Like,
taking photos.
It was crazy, but I took lessons for him for like 6 months, and he kind of gave me more or less the basics, and he taught me actually music theory also. Like, I wasn't a piano player either, and I had a piano at my house, so he taught me how to do all of it, and so it got to a certain point, he's like, "Well, you can keep on taking lessons from me, or you can just, I've given you the foundations, now you either can practice, care about it, or not." And I just kind of took it from there and started practicing a lot.
And I think I read a story that you got a little push from Joe Strummer from The Clash.
Well, that time I did. You do. I did. But that definitely anything positive from Joe Strummer will put some wind in your sail.
Tell me that story.
But I'd already been in Flogging Molly. We'd already been.
Okay.
I already like practiced and gone through all the hell and to get it under my fingers. But when we were, kind of not first starting out, but I don't know how many years ago now. Honestly, it all just blends. But maybe 10 years ago or so, we were playing the House of Blues, and we were opening up for Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros, and just how great is that,
Yeah.
And like my wife flew out for it, and just the people were like, "Wow, you're opening up!" It's just a big deal, and it was really exciting. And then I was outside on a curb just practicing, warming up my hands, playing accordion, and Joe Strummer comes out, sits right down next to me. It's like smoking a cigarette, and like I'm supposed to pretend like I'm not aware of that. Like I'm like plays a bum note for a second, get a little jazzy note going, and he was just so cool. He's just like, "Yeah, man, I love the sound of the accordion." And he talked about, just some stuff that he did with the Pogues and just all of it. It was just a pleasure. And he just was like, I love the accordion. So he was stoked that I played it, and that definitely put like some wind in my sails. I was like, people can talk all the baloney they would like, but I'm getting like the green light from the man himself in my mind. This is the guy from the Clash is saying it's going to work out. I'm like, I'm going to go with that.
So you have been with Flogging Molly for almost the beginning, or even the beginning. I mean, tell me how you kind of got into the band and how all that worked out.
Well, I've been going. I mean, I live from San Diego, but I was going to Los Angeles a couple of times just with hang out with friends, and he took me to this pub called Molly Malone's, and I saw the Dave King band play, and I was blown away by that experience. And but that didn't meet Dave. I was just having a pint of Guinness.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that was pretty sweet. And at the end of that show, Dave was like, yeah, well, this band as it lives now is no longer now. So this is like the last gig or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's too bad. And then I just moved on. Then I just went back to San Diego, did a couple things, continued to play the accordion. And then my wife got me tickets to see this all-accordion band called Those Darn Accordions.
Okay.
It's like a 12-piece accordion band.
Really?
Like, could be someone's worst nightmare, but it was really, I thought it was excellent. And so I went to Los Angeles, saw the show, and then we ended up back at Molly Malone's, and I was just having a pint with my friend Jeff, and he went to I went to the restroom, and when I was in there, Dave was having pints and saying hello to people and celebrating, and Jeff went up to Dave and was like, it's too bad about the band not playing anymore, but if you start anything new, my boy plays the accordion. And
that's not something most people can say about their
No,
friend.
no.
My boy plays the accordion.
It's just weird. And it's not like I would ask him to do that either. So I just rolled out of the bathroom and was like, hey, Jeff, what's up? And we sat down. And just like I am right now, I was just sitting like this, Fred Perry, hanging out, like not really just doing my thing. And Dave tapped me on the shoulder, but I don't know him, and he looks at me and he's all, no. And he moves on down the bar, and I was like, that's a bit strange for you to do that. I didn't pay any mind. And then like a minute or two later, he comes back and he's all, you're not the accordion player, are you? And I'm like, how does he know that? Well, yeah. And then, we started talking from there. He's funny. He's like, yeah, well, we're trying to get this, doing my thing. I'd like to try to, I'll give you, if you want to be part of it. And I was so fired up on that because I just, Dave King's very infectious. It's something you can get your heart behind. You believe in it.
Yeah.
I only saw it once, and I was like, man, I just believe in this guy, and he gave me this, cassette tape. You don't hear that much anymore. It's all cassette tape, crazy recording, barely hear it. Take that home and learn that, and I'll give you a call. And I was like, all right, we'll see if that even happens.
Yeah.
So I went home. My wife's like, oh, great, because she knows me too. So she's like, oh, my husband's a little bit banana, so this may actually go somewhere. So I just practiced, I learned those songs as best I could and went up to rehearsal. Dave called me, I went to rehearsal. We did the rehearsal, and I was, did the best I could, which was sketchy because I'm all of a sudden all around these great, Bridget's a phenomenal fiddle player. Yeah. All these people are just like super pros. And I was just like trying to make it all happen, and when it was done, I was like, man, I don't know, I don't know what to think. I'm like, I didn't think I just wasted maybe some gas or who knows what. And then, so what do you think? David's like, oh, you're in the band. Huh. It's great.
And that's changed your life.
I was like,
since.
Wow, okay. And called, came home and was like, yeah, I'm in the band, Desiree. But again, at that moment, we were playing Flogging Molly. We were playing every Monday or Tuesday night at Molly Malone's once a week, and so, yeah. But then that was it. I was in the band, and it did definitely change the rest of my life.
So when did it go from playing at Molly Malone's once or twice a week to what you do now, which is almost constantly touring. I mean, was it that first album? Was it Swagger, or was it even before that you were?
Well, honestly, it was even before that. Like when we first started practicing and stuff, it was with the intent to bring this music and to what we're doing to the next level. Mm-hmm. There was no I mean, it was based out of just loving music and doing the right thing, but the air and the vibe in the air wasn't like, well, who gives a care about any of this? Like, we want to do this and do it properly, and we learned how to do that for a live audience in front of at Molly Malone's. But there was a moment in everybody's life in this band where we're like, you gotta have to kind of quit your day job.
Yeah.
We're gonna we started slowly moving out of Los Angeles. Like a friend of mine owned a club in San Jose. We did some of our first shows kind of out of Los Angeles and San Jose, and we migrated from San Jose. And then we started playing shows in San Francisco, and eventually we started going all the way up to Seattle and back, and doing these runs in vans. And of course, besides be honest with you, San Jose, like from day one we were there, it was absolutely going off. People were so stoked, and there's a lot of skateboarders in the crowd too, helping that whole vibe. But it was like boom, it was pretty sweet. But a lot of it, you just have to, you earn it. You just got to go and play for 10 people, and you just try to kick the hell out of them, and hopefully turn 10 into 13 the next time you do it, and have that kind of spirit. And that spirit, regardless of Flogging Molly, that spirit is infectious. When you watch anybody do something that they really care about, you immediately become like on their side about things. And when I watch anybody, regardless of music or what you're doing, if you're like, man, this guy really believes it, like I believe it. As soon as you see someone who just doesn't give a shit, or he's phoning it in, you're like, I kind of take that or leave it.
Yeah. Now you said about it being infectious and the music that you play. What do you think it is about the sort of Irish music that kind of gets people going? And I mean, I'm not Irish, but like I said, I've probably seen you guys 10 times, and I know at least the first 3 albums. I won't say I know every song to the last 2, but the first 3, I listened all the time. And I mean, even today on the way out here, I was listening to them, and I just know every word, but I don't have any Irish blood in me. So what do you think it is that kind of makes this music so infectious?
Well, I mean, it's Irish music, but I also think it's a lot of the instruments in Irish music is a lot of it feels like the world. You don't have to be Irish to appreciate that music. You can, I mean, we play in Germany and people really like it, and all around the world. We play in Japan and people back it. I think that some of the instruments, and it's a combination of the instruments, the sound of it, because it is familiar to other cultures' folk music, and you can talk to the hardest bastard in anywhere in the world, and he'll be like, I hate that, I love death metal, or whatever. But honestly, when your lady leaves you and you're in a bar having crying in your pint, you generally kind of revert back to some of that folk music and stuff. So I think it's somewhere between that, and I think Irish humor and sadness sort of a thing, where it's like, a lot of the lyrics are happy and sad all at the same time, and I think people can just relate to that.
Now, do you think the band has progressed over the last 5 albums or so? I mean, have you guys built on the one before that, and has the sound changed at all? Or?
You know what, the sound, it steadily goes. It does what it does. From time to time, it will be lean one way or the other, but I mean, that's a difficult thing. I mean, as a musician, you're always trying to, for me, I'm always trying to become a better musician. This is what I do, it's my job, so I'm going to try to do it better all the time. And as a band, I feel like the same thing. Like you want to try to do what you're doing better, even if it's just, not just playing, but performance and where a song goes in the set. I mean, Dave spends a lot of time, he doesn't just like write a bunch of songs together and hope that it sways. Like it really, people really think about it. Like, how do you feel after this song, and what will your mind and your body appreciate after that, and when to slow it down. I mean, that's all like, it's not just haphazardly done. So everything's thought about, and that's just like little details like that around all of it is where you get it kind of polished. People start to figure it out. I forgot what am I answering?
My question was, have you guys progressed over the last 15 years or so?
Oh yeah, we're definitely. I think we're a better band. We're a better recording band too. I mean, I think we've every time we record, we become better at doing that, and trying to get more and more of our live spirit into a recorded way. But we definitely are. we play so much. Also, it's almost hard not to. We tour so much that you'd have to try real hard to be like worse than better.
I do want to talk to you about tour. I mean, you guys seem to constantly be on tour. I mean, is that tough on your family and your sort of home life, or is it just sort of part of your job?
Well, it definitely can be tough. I struggled for a long time, and I went through all kinds of baloney with it. But I spent a lot of especially in the early years, like before, like when we first started touring, my son was 3 months old, and like wow, it's gnarly to have to kiss my wife goodbye and kiss my son goodbye, and like okay, I'm gonna go in a van now for like 2 months. I'll see you, and hopefully I'll make more than $5.
You weren't planning to,
This is like it'd be much easier for like we sold it out. We sold out the House of Blues again. We're killing it. It was like, well, there's 10 people, 5 of them are paying, and I mean, literally, I have a funny story. Like one of the, we first went to New York, and we were in a van, like we have a sweet tour bus with air conditioning parked out in front now. I sleep with my legs all the way out, which is amazing.
Need air conditioning here in Orlando a lot.
You just need it, which is amazing. But in those days, we were in a van, and I peed in Gatorade bottles, and we just did what we had to do just to get to survive and make it happen. We had a VCR television in the back that we'd watch, movies over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But
what'd you watch? Do you remember?
We watch, With Nail and I is one of our band's favorite movies.
What is it?
With Nail and I.
I don't know if I.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best films. But if there's been a film that Flogging Molly has constantly, I mean, we will unapologetically watch that thing like two times a night sometimes. But I digress. We were in the van, and we just did the show at this show called this club called the Continental. It's not there anymore. I think it's like a McDonald's now, which is upsetting. But it's like a pretty cool old punk bar, and by the time we played it like 8 different times, like every Wednesday night or whatever. And by the end of it, we'd actually done pretty well. It was almost sold out and felt really good. But the first night we played there, not a lot of people went there. And like we won a Guinness on our rider, and the guy who owned it was like, "You're not gonna have Guinness. You'll get Bud Light like every other band that comes through." And I was like, "Wow, okay, we're not drinking Guinness now." And then my wife called our manager, because I didn't have a cell phone at the time. He was like the first guy that I knew that had a cell phone, and he got him on. My wife's like, "So how is it, man?" I'm like, "Everything's going great." And while I'm talking to her, Gary, our manager, is like, everybody needs to fork up like $20 because we drank more than we got paid tonight. and she's like, "Is someone speaking?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's going great, babe. Like, we're killing it. It's gonna be all right. How's Oliver? Is he doing good? Yeah, we're making money. I love you." And like, it's like, "Okay, buy it, babe. Like, here's some money." Like, I lost $20 today.
It's like the scene in the Blues Brothers where they drink too much. Exactly. You got to write them a check out in the car.
Exactly. But at the same token, like it felt so good because we got to play. So after everybody forked over their whatever amount of money, then we were all already pretty pissed up, and we were in the back of the van, and we just had we just celebrated.
Yeah.
Like, we just wrestled and like went bananas on the streets in the back of a van on the streets of New York in traffic. It was a great memory.
So coming up, you guys released an album several years ago. I think you have another one potentially coming out. I couldn't find a name to it though.
Yeah, there's no name for it.
No name for you. Have you recorded it already?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, we haven't.
My question was, can you tell me anything about it? But it sounds like no.
It's going to be good. No, it's going to be really good. I mean, we've been working on 4 or 5 songs, and it's for us. It's to try to take the time off, like not to tour, to be in somewhere where we all get together, and so you have to work hard to collect enough money to be able to take enough time off to do it. That's the truth. So. But I'm super happy. The songs that we have right now that we're working on, and we'll actually play one of them tonight, a new one tonight. So we'll give you a little taste, but it feels really good. I'm very happy. I'm very proud of it.
This one in Ireland as well? I thought I read that.
We really don't know where we're going to record it. Okay. Maybe. Yeah, when we did record it, we actually just don't know yet.
So. You actually left this band for a little bit.
I did.
Not very long, it didn't seem like. Sounds like you got maybe homesick from Flogging Molly.
Oh, you asked me that question. Yeah, I mean, I just got to like a lonely, depressed point in my life where it just sadness took over.
But you bought a pub.
Yeah, it didn't make anything better. Yeah.
Do you still have it? Or
no, I sold it.
No, you sold it. What was the name of it?
Hensley's Flying Elephant Pub and Grill.
In San Diego?
Yeah, it was.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. one day, do you want to maybe own a pub again?
Do not.
No.
No.
You learned that
No.
it's better to be at the pub than own the pub?
There's such a big difference between just being at a bar like, yeah, I'll have a Miller Lite, dude, or I'll have a Guinness, bro, than to own it, where people are just, it's just anything bad happens, like, where's the owner? And, oh, he's the guy. Looks like he wants to jump off the nearest bridge. Like, hello, like, that's me. Like, someone just vomited, pick it up. Okay, cool. Or, I quit. Or it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever do that again.
Playing an accordion's a better job than owning a
Well,
pub.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not even uncomparable. I'm not going to own a pub again, regardless of whatever happens. But yeah, playing music with my friends is infinitely better than anything I've ever done. And it's just I spent a lot of years, all my son's life, just battling that constant, good dad, bad dad thing in my mind, and I finally just kind of fell for a while. But all my friends took me back, and I love being home.
How old is your son now?
He's almost 8. He's like 17 and a half years old.
Oh, okay. So I assume he's seen you a number of times play?
He has, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Is he into Flogging Molly?
You know what? Unbelievably, he absolutely is.
All right,
yeah.
that's good.
I mean, he kind of shouldn't be. Odds are, it's like, oh, my dad. I mean, he's still like all kids are. Kids will always be like, ah, my dad's lame, and that's what occurs. I mean, I feel like sometimes that, I'll tell you a funny story. Like, he's like, can you give me a ride to the movie theater? Meeting some friends or some girl or something. I'm like, sure. And I have a 51, at the time I had a 1951 Chevy truck, lowered with a huge engine in it, like pretty cool car in my opinion,
Yeah.
And I'm not in the Stones, but I'm like, I'm in a pretty cool band. I'm like thinking that I wouldn't be an embarrassing person,
Yeah.
And I used to be a professional skateboarder, so I'm like, I'm doing pretty good. I wouldn't be embarrassing, so I'm like, sure, Oliver, getting the sweet ride. Let's make a lot of racket, and I'll drop you off. It'll probably be cool. I think it would be cool.
Yeah.
And so I would go to the theater, and he's like, go, they're there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Don't you want me to like pull over so you can look like like more badass? And he's like, just go. And I'm like stressing. I get around the corner where no one can see, and he gets out, and he's like, just no matter what you do, it doesn't really matter.
Next time, maybe get a station wagon and show him how embarrassing it can be.
Yeah, so you can't win with that. But he does like Flogging Molly.
That's good.
And he's had my son's had a sweet, lucky life. He's gone. I took him even when he was very young. When he was like 4 years old, I took him to Europe on tour. And he's seen the world. Like he would like one of his favorite bands was like the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, because they took us out, and we would be in Europe, and he'd watch them intently, like, yeah, the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, and doing all their hits. And then when he'd get off the stage, like, he would fall asleep in Dickey would have him, and he'd fall asleep to Flogging Molly. I could care less.
So speaking of playing with bands, are there bands that maybe you guys haven't played with that you'd like to, that you just hasn't maybe crossed paths, or it just hasn't worked out? Because I'm sure you've played with thousands of bands over the last 15 years.
I mean, yeah, there's always a big list of bands. We've played with most bands that I've liked vicariously through like a festival, like where they're playing. I won't see them, but we're kind of playing with them. So, I mean, that list is just huge. We're always joking like, yeah, we would have loved to have open up for Bob Marley. That would have been sweet. We've got to play with the Pogues before, so that was like a dream come true for a lot of guys. And just we've had we got to open up for the Rolling Stones in Europe, and that was super cool. And we got to actually meet them for a quick second before you're the Rolling Stones, so like you are quintessentially the biggest rock band in the world, right? I mean. Yeah. You could be a total jackass if you wanted to be, you could. No one would say anything like, those are the guys at the Stones, bro. What are you going to do about it? Yeah. And they totally were gracious and took time out of their, gig to like, we got to go meet them and hang out with them and like shake their hands. They took a picture with us. Like, it was very impressive. I was like, man, this is how to do it. Like, you stay humble, you stay gracious, even if you're in the Stones. That is pretty good, because I have also come across the opposite of that, where a band that's not even near as good as the Stones or as big is like kind of acting like they're running the show here, and like you're like, wow. I mean, if the Stones can keep it together, you certainly should be able to do it. So, from my own mind, I always I kind of travel the world and try to continually think on that and never try to big league anybody or anything.
How about this cruise that you guys have? This Salty Dog cruise. Can you tell me about that?
It was amazing. It was nonstop just good times.
Where did you go?
It left Miami and it went to Nassau and then like a private little island where we played on. It was just intense. I mean, on paper you're like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't sound like very St. Patty's sort of style Irish thing to do.
And celebration on a Caribbean island.
No, but I will tell you, anybody, if you talk to anybody who went on it, it was such a good experience. And I mean, and you know, obviously, like when we first talked about it, I'm like, my biggest concern was like, look, Flogging Molly's not the kind of band, you know. We're not like, I'm not a yachter, you know. Yeah. I'm not a cabillionaire where I'm like, I'm gonna go yachting around and do all this stuff. So our fans aren't necessarily either, you know. I mean, most people are just working class, trying to keep the dream alive. Mm-hmm. And so, how do you make sure that this boat doesn't turn into that? And you know, I think we did. I mean, we picked some of our personally our favorite bands and made it feel. We had tattoo artists on the boat. I mean, it felt good to me. It just seemed like you know, right where it kind of needed to do. And everybody that I've talked to since it's gone, I mean, it was just nonstop great music, people hanging out, and you got to hang out with people in those bands. They were hanging out on the poop deck, drinking a cocktail in the jacuzzi with you. It's like, you just can't do that anywhere else in the world. It was pretty amazing, pretty amazing.
So you have, like, I keep bringing this back up, but a lot of bands don't stay together for, you know, as long as you guys have, and still seem like you're having fun, and the crowd's really into it. I mean, what do you attribute your success to?
Our longevity? Mm-hmm. I mean, it just comes down to, I think for us, and I'm sure you might get 7 different answers for 7 different people, but
yours is the most important.
I think, yeah. Right, so, I just think a belief in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, just a sincere belief in what we're singing about and where we're coming from, and you know, I think at the end of the day, I kind of believe right before I go on. I believe in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. I do believe that not just Flogging Molly's music, but music definitely makes a difference for people in this world. So with that belief, and then I feel like we're making a difference, and as long as we believe in what we're doing, that spirit will come alive. And then I think, like, again, it kind of goes to the audience too. I think if the audience, you know, we believe it, the audience believes it, then we're all sitting around believing it and having a great time and listening to good music and doing your thing. That's a good combination, you know. And that's, knock on wood, that's going to continue to truck down that road.
So what haven't maybe you done yet as a band? I mean, you've toured the world, you've had hit albums. I mean, is there something that you haven't done as a band that you'd like to?
Well, I mean, we have not gone to China yet. I'd like to go to China. There's a couple countries I'd like to play, for sure. I mean, you know, yeah, well, I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, we just keep on playing, you know, gigs and playing music and meeting cool people around the world. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Tonight is Orlando.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
You excited for tonight?
I absolutely am, dude.
You're at Disney. You could shoot over to Epcot if you want to right now.
No, this Orlando always treats us really well. I'm not just saying that. I mean, these gigs are always really, really good here.
And there's plenty of tickets left?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know
well,
the ticket
hopefully,
count.
if there's not a ticket, you missed out. But if there's tickets, get one. But Flogging Molly's playing tonight here at House of Blues. Show starts 7:30, 8?
I don't know what time we go on. All the info over here. You're getting all the info here.
Shows up with his accordion.
Yeah, I bet you we play around 9:30.
Okay. So be here for the show. It's going to be great. As I said, I've seen them a number of times. They're a fantastic live band, and you shouldn't miss it. Thanks again, Matt. I really appreciate it.
No worries, John.
I'm John Bustecker with OrlandoSentinel.com.
See ya.